Welcome back to MythBadger Videos. I'm on Vectr.com, which is a free graphics design software that is available completely online. One of the things I like about this is it's free to use and it's quite powerful despite its seemingly simple interface. I've used it for a variety of things here and there over the years. So let's go ahead and explore what our options are. I'm on Vectr.com, that's Vectr without the O, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on the Use Online, which allows me to use the interface without having to sign up for an account. However, it's important to note, as you can see down here in the bottom, this is just a temporary file. It is possible to save your work by using the export option even from a temporary file, but if you want to be able to save your work and come back to it later to work on, you'll need to create an account. If you just want to explore, this can be a great way to get started and see what the options are. Let's explore a little bit about the interface. The main window you see here is where all your work's going to actually be done. On the left side, you see a toolbar here. The toolbar provides several options for what you can create and add into your workspace. To the left of the toolbar is a Pages and Layers option, which allows you to see the stuff that you've already made and help to rearrange the layer, which we'll talk about in the future. On the far right side, you see a rough editing toolbar up here, as well as this section, which shows nothing at the moment, but as we add things, this is how we can manipulate the stuff we add. Vectr calls it filters, but it's another way to think of properties about the shapes that you put on here. I'm going to go ahead and use the rectangle tool here. You see that when it's unselected, nothing's highlighted, so I click it, and now it's highlighted saying I'm ready to draw a rectangle. I'm just going to go ahead and draw one right here in the center. We see now that our filters have populated, providing options for background, border, shadow, inset shadow, and opacity, along with controlling the dimensions of our shape. For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and change the color here, and I'm going to make this color, let's just kind of go with a light blue color here. And I'm just going to go ahead, you see it changes. If I want to turn this off, we see that things have checkboxes here where we can turn features on and off. So I'm going to turn the color back on, and I've also got a border selected. You can see that here. Clicking it again, let's change that border so it's a little more recognizable. And I'm also going to increase the size of the border so it stands out just a little bit better. And there we go, I have just a very basic box. I want to go ahead and add another shape to talk about some of the other options available. So I'm going to click on this ellipse, which is also just a circle. As we move around, you'll notice that in some spots there's these lines that appear, like we see here. This allows me to try and line myself up with various center points or edge points of an existing shape. I want to place a circle right here in the corner, and it's hard to see with the blue background, but there is a blue vertical and horizontal line saying that if I click right now, I'm actually going to line up perfectly in the corner of that shape. So I'm just going to click and create that option, and let's go ahead and change the color. I'm going to make it kind of a red color so it stands out against our background right now. Now I have two shapes put together. But what happens is if I click one and try to move it, it doesn't move both of them at the same time. So if I want to use both at the same time, I can drag and click both, in which now they move together as one shape. That's important to know because you can very easily make mistakes, so don't forget you always have the option to undo your work with Control-Z. I want to go ahead and explore how these two shapes can interact. If I click on any one shape, you see I've got some options here to control the size and scale of the shape. But I'm going to go ahead and select both of them. I'm going to click and drag a box around both. And we see that I have some filters here, but I don't really want to explore those just yet. What I want to do is I want to explore the options that are up here. When I have stuff selected, I may get some additional menu options along the top of the shape. I see that there's an option to flip horizontal and flip vertical, which is a nice little tool to use. I also have the options to combine them in unique ways. For example, if I use the Unite and Add, it actually combines them into one shape instead of two separate shapes. The Subtraction tool removes the second shape from the first one. Intersection leaves only the overlapping part, and Exclude keeps everything except for the overlapping part. I'm going to go ahead and use my Subtract option here, and now we see that this is treated as one object even though it started as two. Let's go ahead and undo that for a second. I also have another option, and what I can do is I can right click on this shape And you can see I can duplicate, I can lock the object down so it can't move. I can align my objects. If I do align middle, you see how it manipulates the final shape. I also have the option to group them, and grouping is another way to be able to select two shapes, or more than two shapes, and move them as a group, and then once they're placed where you want, I can ungroup them in order to be able to control just one of them. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to right click and duplicate this, and I'm going to place it using the existing guidelines. So I place one circle in each of the corners here. One more in the bottom left, and now I have this whole shape. I'm going to go ahead and select everything, and I'm going to unite and add to make this final shape in the end. I can also go ahead and use some of the additional tools in here. I have some pen tools which allows me to design lines specifically, and if I click and drag, I can also make some curved lines here. If I use the pencil tool, that's kind of a free-handed drawing. I do have a text tool. There is even the ability to upload pictures, so if I wanted to put a specific picture into this, I can. And under more shapes, if I wanted to, we can see that I can select something, and let's find roughly the center, right about there, and I can place those predefined shapes right into my object. So we see that there's quite a few tools available within the system here. And in order to make more complex shapes, I may need to combine those tools in various ways, as well as using these combination options that are along the top in order to get the final shape that I want to use. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of power behind this tool. You just have to understand a little bit more about how to use the things. So we're going to take a look in some future videos about making some creative shapes and learning how we can use this graphic design software to make some images we can use in other projects. Thank you for watching. Feel free to visit Vectr.com and explore the options yourself, and definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of our content here at MythBadger Videos.